Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we have final Duelist Nexus reveals. This is really big. This is really good. During these final reveals, it's all the filler type stuff at the end. So a lot of times it's a lot of duds, but every once in a while we get a couple of really neat cards in here. So we're definitely going to keep our eyes peeled for that. Keep in mind, Ringo Worm in Cyberstorm Access in the set prior to this one is like one of the best cards in the entire set, and that card was one of those free agent cards as well. So I think there's only 2 slots missing after we go over these cards here. I think it's the number 80 slot, which is a trap card, and the number 31 slot, which is one of the very last main deck monster slots there. So I don't expect them to be crazy, but if they don't if they don't refresh and they're not revealed by the time we finish up here, I will make a community post talking about them, or if they're actually worth their own video, I'll obviously do that later. But so let's just get into this thing. We got a bunch of cards to go through. Let's go in reverse here. We do have 2 Rescue Ace cards. We'll hit those up at the end. Starting off here, we have Aqua Round. It's a normal spell card. Banish 1 card from your hand, and if you do during your next standby phase, you can add up to 2 cards with the banished card's name from your deck to your hand. If this card is activated while your opponent controls no cards, you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with the banished card's original name for the rest of this turn. This card's pretty rough. Reading through it at the beginning, you think like, oh, it's the one thing that's kind of cool is like Thunder Dragon. Like banish one of the newer Thunder Dragon names. Those are usually even the stronger effects a lot of times. So they'll plus you in some way, and then on the next standby phase, you get 2 more copies of that card to your hand. But if we're talking about a turn 1 going first scenario, your opponent's not going to have any cards. So even if you banish one of the Thunder Dragon names, you cannot even activate the effect that would trigger. So I don't know really what you're going to use this for. It's a cheeky card. It's an interesting card, but it's too slow. So maybe it's more of like a simple format kind of tech card. All right, moving on. Next card, we have Eternal Ice Grave. This card looks crazy. The artwork here looks like Ice Jade, right? Eternal Ice Grave. The artwork looks crazy. It's a quick play spell. It's a good sign. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. During the main phase, if a monster you control leaves the field by an opponent's monster effect, okay, except being destroyed, activate one of these effects. End the phase or skip the main phase 1 of your opponent's next turn. This card's pretty bad. This card's pretty bad all over, in my opinion. It requires so much. Your monster has to be removed by your opponent. It has to be a monster effect, and it cannot be a destruction effect. And then I feel like the payoff isn't even that great from that point either. End the phase or skip your opponent's next main phase 1. It's not enough. If it's at end of the turn, then maybe we're talking. But skip the phase, just not enough for me. Mech card to me. Moving on, we have a Pot of Greed Lord card. It's actually a flip monster called Pod of Greed. Very cool. Level 3 Earth Rock Flip. Also another rock flip monster. That's cool. 700 attack, 800 defense. You can only use each of this card's effects once per turn. It's 1 effect. On flip, you can apply these effects in sequence. So you do get both. Excavate cards from the top of your deck up to the number of cards your opponent controls. Add 1 excavated card to your hand. Also send the rest to the graveyard. Wow. Okay, so not only do you get to pick one, but then the rest go to grave. They don't even go back into deck. That could actually be pretty interesting. And the second effect that would resolve is send monsters from your extra deck to the graveyard up to the number of monsters special summon from the extra deck your opponent controls. Wow. That's pretty powerful payoff. I could see a world where we get good enough flip support where, like, generically, maybe we have an engine that has a Subterra Final Battle-esque card that can, like, quick flip anything really easily, and it's a consistently setupable situation where, like, just set up this card, let your opponent commit 2-3 cards to the field, then flip this guy. He's going to let you dig 3, which could just be a hand trap. That's a really cool thing to keep in mind. If we're doing this on the opponent's turn, we could just find a hand trap, which does give us extra interruption. And the rest go to grave, so then that could even give us even more value. And then if they have 1 monster or even 2, you get double Foolish Burial Goods there. So send an Intis to pop something, send, you know what I mean? Send a Garura just to draw, get more resources. This is a pretty powerful effect. I could see a scenario where we actually do have access to setting up this card and flipping him somewhat consistently if we get the right support down the line for like flip stuff. But let me know if you have any cool ideas. That's a cool one. Next up we have Uruka the Magic Star. This is a level 4 Wind Beast effect monster. 1500 attack, 400 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name, each once per turn. When one monster you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect and no other cards, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard to special summon that monster if it is banished face up or in the graveyard. Otherwise, special summon this banished card. And if this card is special summoned, you can make it gain 1500 attack until the end of the next turn. I guess it's like a floaty card, but like it needs your monster, again, kind of like the quick play spell we looked at earlier. It needs to be removed by an opponent's card effect and be the only card removed by a card effect. And if that monster was either shuffled or spun back into the deck, then this card doesn't do anything anyway, or banished face down, or set. There are ways for people to play around these. And its card effects, they can be killed by battle. There's so many ways to work around this. This card is just not impressive to me, really, at all. That's definitely a huge filler card. I love the artwork on these guys. These guys remind me of Flounder from Little Mermaid. This is Click and Echo. I love this card. It's great. This is a Sea Serpent effect monster. It's level 2, 300 attack, 2100 defense. Cannot be used for material for a fusion, synchro, or exceed summon. Link based? You can only use the second effect of this card's name up to twice per turn. Weird. This face-up card on the field cannot be tributed. Okay? If this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, special summon it to the summoning player's opponent's field in defense position. So that third effect, if this card was special summoned by its second effect, you must keep your hand revealed. Whoa! So you're telling me you could literally just like normal summon this card, like summon Salamangreat Almirage, link this card off for a link 1 Almirage. This card summons to the opponent's field. It cannot be tributed, so they can't just tribute summon over it to like clear it off your field. And your opponent has to play with their hand revealed. Wow. That is really interesting. I've been talking more recently on the channel about effects like what makes the Volcanics a little bit extra interesting is they summon tokens to your field. Turns off impermanence. Turns off, not Nibiru, stuff like Lightning Storm, evenly matched. Kashtira, engines like Kashtira. We're seeing decks potentially considering playing like a hero engine down the line where they use a hero lives into Prisma. Like that's just turned off. Like all these cards that need no cards on your field, it clogs that. And you have to reveal your entire hand. That gives them deck knowledge on what you're playing. This could be a crazy card for a deck that doesn't need a normal summon. Like imagine like Sprite. Like normal summon this card, summon a blue, then you can link this off for Almirage. Like then they get this, so now like Imperm's being turned off, some of those other going second stuff is being turned off, on top of the fact that now they have to reveal their hand, and now you can tailor your Sprite board to whatever they show you, and it's a level 2. Wow. The only thing that would have made that better in Sprite is like if it was an Aqua to potentially do lines to use it as a Toad material, but still. This card's really, really interesting. This is by far the most interesting card to me so far, for sure. Competitively speaking, at least. Definitely could come up. Next up, we have Agnimal Candle. I love the artwork on this guy. He looks great. Floofy Boy is 100% correct. Yuga Organization and killing it as always. Okay, he's a Fire Pyro Tuner. Okay, Pyro card right around the time we get a Fire Legendary Duelist. Not bad. It's a level 4, 17-0 for the stats. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is added to your hand except by drawing it, you can special summon it. Okay. Once per chain, up to thrice per turn, if a monster or monsters is sent to your graveyard, you can increase or decrease this card's level by 1. Okay. Not bad. I mean, listen, he's a level 4 tuner, so he can adjust his level. It is what it is. Not the craziest thing in the world, but that works. Interesting. Very interesting card. It's not a bad card inherently, but we have to have like good enough generic ways to just search this as a fire pyro. I don't know if we have good enough generic ways. If this card had good graveyard effect, then it would have added like extra utility to the new Pyro Foolish Burial that Volcanics got, but still a cool card. All right, next up we have Little Opposite. This is a normal trap card. You can only activate one card of this card's name per turn. Choose 2 unused main monster zones in the same column. Okay, so this is 1 monster zone on your opponent's field and 1 on your field that are both unused. Apply this effect, then your opponent can apply it for themselves. Special summon 1 level 2 or lower monster from your hand or deck to your chosen zone in attack position or face down defense position. Any level 2 or lower monster. Wow, I mean, this is kind of a trap card that just says like summon Testudo Arat Newman with the level 1 guy that like some sprite builds were using it. Like, yes, you have to summon it in attack position, but like as long as you had anything else to set up that like also like could protect him from getting like run over by battle, this card could probably access some like really insane. I mean, you could summon a sprite. You know what I mean? Summon red, summon carrot. This is a really interesting trap card. I could see this being played in certain decks for sure. Is Jowgen level 3? If Jowgen's level 2, this is crazy. This card has some really crazy targets. I'm actually interested. I'm going to have to look up what the best targets for this could possibly be. Maybe make a whole video talking about this one. This was another really interesting one. All right, and then we finish up here with Rescue Ace, assuming the other cards didn't just get revealed. 2 Rescue Ace cards. Let's get into it. Rescue Ace Preventer, a level 8 fire machine, 28/28 for the stats. That's a big boy. 3 hard ones return effects. That's a good sign. You can banish a Rescue Ace card from your graveyard, special summon this card from the hand. Super easy summoning condition. He is not a brick. He gets himself on the field. Love that. Second effect, if you control another Rescue Ace monster, quick effect. Oops, sorry. You can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, flip it face down. Just a Book of Moon. Now, I don't love that you have to have another Rescue Ace monster on the field, but, you know, it's still an eruption effect. It's still a pretty solid effect. We'll take it. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, whoa, generically, you could just Foolish Burial this. Target one of your banished Rescue Ace monsters except a level 8 and special summon it. Wow, okay. Yeah, this is actually not bad because that's actually really good because he banishes a Rescue Ace just to summon himself in the first place. He is an interruption. Any of your opponent outs him and they have to out him by sending him to grave. Boom, you're getting that monster back you banished, which could be a follow-up, which could be the other big guy potentially, Turbulence. And now you're doing stuff that way. There's some cool stuff here. This card's a good card. I like this. This is a nice addition. This gives them another piece of interruption and like threat that isn't just Turbulence. And that's one of the biggest things I wanted to focus on with Rescue Ace. I've talked about a lot is like the deck is just Turbulence or lose. This is a guy where like if Turbulence gets negated, you could also just summon this guy and at least you have the added float, the Book of Moon, and, you know, an easy extender, powerful, big beater, right? That's actually pretty good. All right, the other card's a quick play spell. That's good. This card is always a Rescue Ace card. Awesome. First and second effects are hard ones per turn. First effect, special summon a Rescue Ace monster from your deck in defense position, then tribute a Rescue Ace monster from your hand or field. Okay, so this is emergency teleport, but of course you do have to have a Rescue Ace monster somewhere, in hand or on field, but that's still pretty good overall. I don't remember every Rescue Ace monster off the top of my head. I'd have to see. Is there any one monster where this is just like already good with, even if you have no Rescue Ace monsters in rotation? Is there any Rescue monster Ace monster that's good where you can just go summon, it's destroyed, and then I guess the new guy if you already have something banished. This essentially just says Foolish Burial this guy, and then he can summon back a banished guy, but you already have to be set up for that. And then second effect, during your main phase, you can banish this card from grave to target a Rescue Ace trap in grave and set it. Nice. That's good. I mean, you want to play one-ofs of a lot of the traps, so being able to reset them is pretty solid. You can use both in the same turn even. So this is a pretty solid card, I think. I like that a lot. And it's even a quick play, so you can even set it and, like, you know what I mean, summon this guy on the opponent's turn to then add a Book of Moon to whatever your board is. These are solid cards. This is what I wanted to see last set for the Rescue Ace. This is a nice push. Is it enough? I don't know. I really, really don't know. It's really going to depend. I think the quick play spell is awesome. It's a good extender / potentially consistency card. I like this. That's really, really cool. Nice. That's a good step. That's a really nice step for Rescue Ace. Let's see, we just refreshed here. We are still the same. Okay, so we're going to end the video off here. Obviously, like I said, I will bring you maybe a community post just on what the last 2 cards are. If they deserve their own video, they will get it. Don't worry about that. But as far as this stuff goes, the Pot of Greed could have, flip effect, flip deck stuff, implications down the line. I think this card could be wild. This card's kind of crazy to me. We'll have to see if this actually has applications. This guy's interesting for a pyro deck, just good, cool. Honestly, just a decent tuner extender if he's searchable. This card could be wild as well, summoning floodgates on the opponent's turn. And both the Rescue Ace cards, I think, are solid. So, honestly, not a bad reveal. For usually when you go through filler, it's a lot of duds, but we had a handful of actually pretty interesting cards. So, let me know your thoughts down below. What's the most interesting to you? What's interesting applications? These are weird cards that could come up generically. So, let me know your thoughts down below on the cards here. I'd love to hear that. I'm out of here for today, though. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.